various, and as usual, the developed countries always try to regulate actually, and then they develop as a voluntary organization. They prepare the standards, and then they try to conduct as then everybody starts adopting. So that is how all these sustainable buildings, green buildings. Even in my first class, briefly, I've talked about that. And if you see the latest one, this may be the sustainable. This lead started maybe in the late of 90s or beginning of 90s, some countries, and but it started moving advance in late 90s actually, at beginning mid of 90s. And similarly now, for the last 5 years, 10 years, or maybe later 2005 onwards, another emerging institution is your carbon credit and carbon business, because this is also become another important institution also in that. So we will talk separately. So that is how the lead has got most important. And when you say lead, the full definition of that. That's also my presentation is going to cover how lead certification process, and how they are going to classify it, and what are the sustainable development initiative, and what are the advantages of the green building. This all lead is basically based on, as I told you, we want to protect the planet Earth. That is the idea basically, because the science always tells that because of the technological advancement, the exponential growth of the building, and then without much technological development in the equipment and system, so much pollution happen, maybe air pollution, even marine pollution, various types of pollutions are there. So then the concept of we call rebuilding, and so that on that basis only this type of institutions started developing. And then we talk about the U.S. Green Building Council. Similarly, we have a certification worldwide. How this lead started, and then how this another one, well, because it's mentioned particular country, what are the well standard, or well, what is well fit, and then what is dream actually, and then green globes, and then comparison. And then we also have this high performance building. uh, Sometimes we have also energy star. On what basis is all interlinked? All are one is interlinked. That's what we are going to talk. So you may ask, sir, as a HVAC design engineer, or what is my role here? Yes, because whenever we want to apply for the certification process, as I told you, energy is a very important part, and air conditioning is a highly energy intensive sector. And there only our role is very important, because like for example, this is what I was telling, alternative refrigerant. Suppose if you are selecting a system now with the HFC 134A chiller. So for that, they know that we know that HFC hydrofluorocarbon 134A is fluorine is basically one of the greenhouse gas. So probably you as an air conditioning engineer, refrigeration engineer, when you are going to select any chiller, you always try to, if you want to apply for the lead in that building, you have to again interact with your architect or the project manager or the developer or the owner, whoever it is, who plans to get the certification process. So you have to have the all point system. It's, I know, for me, I have tried one project here. It's about 4 years ago, and we started everything. And but later stage, we have dropped that idea because of the cost. Even in this country, we don't have We don't have much lead certificate. We don't have at all. I think, to my knowledge, Oman, we don't have any lead certificate building. If you go to UAE, probably you may have many, or if you go to other countries, you maybe have. We really wanted to have, I think maybe private sector, one or two, maybe they're here. But in government sector, we have tried one building. This almost, I told you, Oman Museum. It's about, it took almost 4 years. Even the design stage, it took almost 18 to 22 months. And various consultants, various architects from US, Australia. So really, we wanted to apply for the LEED certification. And then the later stage, when political leaders changed and the financial constraint, because initially we planned for about certain amounts, some budget actually, and the later stage budget started reducing, then we dropped the idea. So as such, but since you are in probably you are in India, you must also must be designing various buildings for US, and you may be doing a lot of things in Middle East also. So as my personal experience, and this is the one project we I have associated, then I really understood the process, how difficult the documentation basically, and TDS and all the things in that. So that is what we are going to see in today's class more, and that is my brief about my presentation. And in my first class, I told you what is a sustainable development. This is what I'm telling. This actual sustainable development was seriously taken up in the early 90s. Because before that, okay, people were talking. Like, for example, in beginning of 80s only, the scientists have found out the chlorine, which is escaping from the chlorofluorocarbons, which normally we use as a refrigerant in all our air conditioning system. We call the CFCs like R11, R12, R22. And this chlorine is escaping and it is depleting the ozone layer. So this was found out by a scientist from, he also got Nobel Award. And then he told that if you allow this to happen, probably after some time, and the ozone layer will completely deplete. It will create so much side effect like skin cancer and everything. So then immediately all these political leaders, they've gathered, and then they immediately internationally, they all collected themselves at Montreal in Canada, and then they created a protocol in the initial time. And then developed countries wanted to implement that protocol. Then the developing countries like China and India, they told that no, our consumption for as far as refrigeration and air conditioning, the quantity wise, we are very less. And then there were roadmap, there were planning and all the things. So they have put the phases up to which time, up to which time product, when they have to stop the production. So in that way, Montreal Protocol within almost 4 decades, they achieved a successful implemented. And then recent research also, they found out this ozone layer has definitely has recovered actually. And then later stage, when HFCs were stopped, the CFCs were stopped, what is alternative? It is some like today, I'm going to stop my petrol, or I'm going to stop diesel. What will happen to the engines? How we will drive the car? They may be telling, okay, we may use a biofuel or something in that, but that is not going to come overnight, isn't it? It takes its own research. It has to come a lot of things. So we have interior refrigerant. So as such, the refrigeration alternatives, still research is going on throughout the world. Same way, when it comes for the infrastructure development, various technological advancements in some construction technology, design technology, project execution, project management. So these all really helped us take up this sustainable development very seriously after the 90s. The world also started developing very fast. If you draw your data, population as well as, the need is the mother of the invention in that. So as I told you, any sustainable development means the major factors are definitely your environment and economy and the social. This is the diagram also I explained to you in that. So you have to put some effective strategies for sustainable urban development. So in fact, even India now, they were also planning, our government is planning to develop sustainable cities, wherein particularly in urban cities in that, various places in that, there was a blueprint, and that is all going on that. So this is how now we want to have a sustainable world, because even after us, our grandchildren or our great grandchildren, everybody has to live in this world peacefully and enjoy without much climatic impact on the planet Earth. So that's what we want to live in the sustainable world. Then we have everywhere the countries should be also sustainable countries. For example, if you know that the countries like Bhutan, they are very much particular. I read many things about their country also. Then sustainable cities, all the statistics data we collected, the worst polluted city in the world, or we also ranking in that. Probably, unfortunately, we have also placed cities like Delhi in that. Similarly, and sustainable never have to. This is what the basic concept in that. So when we use for urban development, I probably every economy has got their own fundamentals. And our economy, Indian economy, is basically based on agriculture. And I have been even 90s, 80s also, I used to think, why unnecessarily only the cities have to complete unproportionately they expand. If you see Mumbai, and I know everybody is coming and then they're allowing us for the job employment and everything. Similarly, Delhi is a political capital, but all the people from the village they started coming and settling in this type of village, maybe because of their survival. Because for them they want to earn money, and then a lot of opportunities are there. But city has got its own limit for the development. City has got its own limit to provide the facilities, isn't it? So on that basis only the engineers and builders and above all the policy holders. And this is how I was telling those days, some offices, it is not necessary that they have to be there only in Delhi. Now you see this pandemic now, most of the people, they are working from the home also. But still the system is okay. Every system has got its advantages and disadvantages. And this is how basically the research is going on in that. Even many research they found out when India was on lockdown last year, they were finding the air quality has improved a lot. But at the same time, I'm not telling all the people cannot sit ideal. So this type of sustainable development for the planet to survive and for our great grandchildren to live peacefully, we need to have a sustainable development. So who are the stakeholders for the urban development? Government, then engineers always responsible. Then who is going to finance? Bank, finance people. Then the finance is who is going to guarantee? The owner, investor. Then the building is built for whom? Either I am a user or visitor or public place. The building can be different kind of building. It can be a hospital, it can be a parliament, or it can be any administrative or even residential area or mall or anything in that. So these are all various type of, this is what the various stakeholders in that. So what are the green buildings? I know green buildings, this is all another terminology. The green buildings are homes that are more energy efficient, produce less waste, and are healthier to be inside. The general definition, always we talk green building means energy. Nowadays we have also concept called the zero energy building, zero energy building. This is what many of the energy people, they coined the different terms in that. So when they put zero energy, that does not mean that the building will not consume any energy. They cannot consume any energy. How we will get all the things? It's not magic. Engineers will work based on the science. And so the green buildings don't literally mean that buildings that produces zero emission. Yeah, that's what the point I want to say in that, are totally green or totally environmentally friendly. So we have to, for that, this is a relative term. So for that, we have a certification system. So that's what the certification system by different organizations, we have different institutions. So they normally put so much as like NGOs, and they develop their own standards, volunteer organizations, and to quantify how the green building, how it should be. And but different standards worldwide, there are different standards, but the concept is same. What is the concept? The core concept is every building, they were focusing on which sustainable development, which is going to take, which is addressing your environment as well as economy as well as social. So this has to be addressed in that. So this is what basically the concept is same in that. Now, some of the advantages, major advantages from the research, what they are telling. Even first class also, I told you many times, we always say green buildings are very expensive. Then hashtag green building also, I have given the link also in my first class, particularly for air conditioning in that. Even hashtag itself, they have developed a LEED certified buildings in their headquarters in Tennessee, US in that. So generally the research say that even in the recurring costs, it is almost 8 to 9%. This is based on certain data they must have analyzed in the research paper they published in that. And then because of the green building, the marketing value, the rental value will also increase. When for example, recently in Chennai, there was a Godrej. Godrej is a very reputed company. They claimed that we are the apartment. And they told that we are constructing a green building, and they also got a lot of environmental clearance certificate, and then everybody will always try to invest the money, because whoever interested about the climate and all the thing, they don't mind even if the pay initial cost more, whoever concerned about the environment in that. And similarly, this is a commercial part, 6.6% return on the investment improves, 3.5% the occupancy rate increases, and rent ratio also it increases. These are all some of the few advantages. There are many other advantages also. So this all started in the developed country like as usual, United States are always a hub for research, like Germany. These are the two countries where they do a lot of, even Europe also. In India also we are doing, probably we need more on that. And the US, they started this Green Building Council. It was started probably in beginning of 90s. And it was basically a non-profit organization based in Washington. And then the council vision is that all buildings will achieve sustainability within a generation. That was their vision. So they developed some program, rating system, because everything should be performance oriented. It is, we call this KPI. So they always put some rating system. So that is, then they named as a lead, and they want to put some terminology, and then they provide the rating system. And basically, that rating system is basically drives. It is a mechanism which drives for the certification process for the green building in that. So if you see that, then throughout the world, various people have started following that one. And if you see in 1960s or 70s, many people may not be knowing all this type of old buildings. Some of the buildings which is built in 1960s or 70s or even 80s, there probably we may not have this type of thing. But latest stage, after 90s, every country, for example, India, the responsible institution is Indian Green Building Council. They are doing wonderful job. So much data they've collected. And similarly, if you go to UK, we have BREEAM, and France, HQ, Germany, they have DGNP. These are some of various institutions of various countries. And even if you say United Arab Emirates, yesterday, this I have told also. But some countries still, we don't have that type of certification process. Like Oman, we don't have. So, but we always follow with that. LEED. We always go for the LEED certification on that. Some buildings. That's what in our country, the LEED certified buildings are not much actually. But if you go to UAE, like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, the reason is basically Dubai and all the things, you have a space constraint. The expansion is vertically. It's a vertical expansion in that, and all multi-story buildings. And so always when you go for a multi-story building, it's always energy intensive in that. So whereas in Oman, Oman is also second largest country in the Middle East, and they have a lot of areas, and population is also not that much. So generally they go expansion horizontally. You don't have much high-rise buildings like Dubai or Abu Dhabi, like that. So here maximum floors could go for about maybe 5 floors, 6 floors, or 7 floors. But whereas if you go to Dubai, the largest, tallest building is Burj Al Khalifa. That is in Dubai, isn't it? So this is all this type of reason also. So there maybe that is the reason they also developed their own standard. And even these countries can also follow it up, which I have been always telling to the engineering societies here as an institution. Like we have an institution of engineers here. Also, there is an organization called as Oman Society of Engineers. Many times I used to request them to develop their own standard, and but they are on the process actually. People are slowly realizing in that. So these are for the various countries, Singapore and all the things. Okay. But generally, the most of the famous worldwide, the certification tools are definitely LEED is the leading always. And this is BREEAM is UK, and HQ is from the France. And these all similarly, Australia, they call as Green Star, and Japan, we call as CASP, and then Germany, DGNP in that. But people like in the third world countries, Asian countries, majority of the people still we go for LEED actually in that. Maybe Europe, they may go for the BREEAM actually. And Germans always, they go for their own certification process. But the core concept is more or less same for all certification in that. Similarly, I told you, since you mentioned that you're also working for the Middle East, we have Emirates Green Building Council, EGPC. They have also developed this Estradama, and mostly they adopt from the US system only. And then they also taken something from the Indian lead system. On that basis, they started, and majority of the people now Estradama certification is a must. It has become a statutory requirement also in that. So lead is basically a short form of leadership in energy and environmental design. So so that is a short form we call as LEED. So basically, you know, that rating system that was developed by the US Green Building Council to provide a recognized standard for the construction industry, because construction industry is again complementary to the infrastructure development. Almost every country, 30 to 40% of their budget is good for the development of the infrastructure. It can be any form in that: airport development, port development, even residential areas development, all these things in that. So construction infrastructure development is an ongoing process. Every country, even developed countries like USA, where this type of infrastructures were developed maybe 100 years ago. But again, we have to refurbish it, or we have to change it. But the life cycle of the building is only the 50 to 75 years, and then later stage they had to be refurbished with taking the advancement in the technology. And then it also encourages and it promotes the integrated building design process. All the stakeholders come into the design table, and at the design stage itself, they think, and then they will try to use all the material used for all the parameters like man, material, and the energy, which is used in optimum level in that. And it is basically a volunteer-based non-profit organization in there. Majority of these organizations are, even ISO also, it's a non-profit organization. Even this carbon credit and carbon business is also, or particularly Europe is now doing more, because they are very strict about the environmental control now. And if you see that now, they have a target in UK. I was reading by 2024, their power generation from thermal power plant, they have a target now. They have to reduce it to only 2%. Only 2%. That means the entire power generation from thermal power plant, because coal is used in thermal plant. Coal is one of the major source for the carbon monoxide. Now, whereas in India, you see that how much the majority of our power plants are operated by coal plant. So if I want to take a decision on that, it has so much side effect on that, because we don't have other alternative. In those countries, probably they have well advanced, and then there are some school of thought, nuclear energy also. Some people after, because you have a risk in that. So much people are working on that, and they have a target. And because they take it very seriously. Europe is taking the environmental issue very seriously, and they mean it also. And even if you see refrigerant side also, they have issued a F gas regulation. Very standard one they put. Even Australia probably they have not gone that much deep into that. But Europe has gone. That is called as Institution of Refrigeration. I think they have headquarters at Europe. And they do so much research. And they also want to promote this natural refrigerant like carbon dioxide, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, like that. Maybe recently I read an article, even this the God's particle research, where in Europe they are doing the SEER and lab. And for that cooling system, and they have replaced with the normal refrigeration system with the CO2 system, CO2 or ammonia system, something I was reading there. So Europe is very, very advanced on these environmental issues in that. And they are taking, but the main users, polluters in the world, if you see that, America has got China, and then Australia, and then India also like that. So, but these people are developing so much database and so much standards, which definitely help us in that. So then we have some point scale they have given, and this focus on for LEED definitely provides a framework for the healthy, high efficient, and cost saving green buildings in that. how the cost is, because there are two schools of thought. For every system when you propose, there will be a constructive criticism, there will be a opposite also. So what are the, some people always will have a destructive criticism. That also it is there. I will explain to you also later. So in the leadership in green building system is internationally accepted benchmark for the design, construction, and operation of high performance green buildings in the US. It was introduced in 2000, though it developed in 1993. It's a voluntary standards and certification program, and was developed to promote leadership in the building industry by providing to objective of variable definition of a green in that. So why was LEED is created? Obviously, to define the green building, though it is a corollary of whatever I told yesterday, and to promote integrated design process, recognize environmental leadership to the building industry, and then also we want to raise the consumer awareness of green buildings benefits, and then transform the building market. In addition to that, they also have to develop the standards also in association with all this type of professional organizations like ASHRAE, SIPS, and similarly IMEC, Institution of Mechanical Engineer, or Institution of IEEE, Institution of Electrical Engineers, for the matter in that. So if you see the main strategies for the leaders, any as I told you, any site development, there are many points for that. On what basis you can develop the site? First of all, from the site selection itself, there are various points. You have to ask many questions. Why I have to put this one? Why can't I put other site? What is the reason? And similarly, how best we can use the water. Water is also another commodity in that, which is highly used here. Material efficiency, we have material advancement of technology, with many material production, material science is another important topic in that. Again, related to the cost of the building also, energy efficiency, then high indoor environmental quality, because this is also point, how much ventilation you are taking, what type of air conditioning system you are using, is all related with that. And it also provides a framework for the building performance. Even if your existing building also, you can monitor it, because LEED certifications are valid for a certain period only. Unless if you maintain it, probably the certificate will be revoked also. And it also meets the sustainability goal. Now, for example, as per the COP 2015 and Paris, every country has signed to limit the carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide release. They have agreed certain percentage. So by 2030 or 2040, I think, I remember, everybody has signed. All these people, all top leaders. I think Obama was also there. India, everybody went signed, and in between, US slightly went out because they have their own business issues. The later stage now, the recent government has also taken, and that COP's Conference of Parties is now definitely dynamic. So even when US last year or 2 years ago, when they wanted to go out from this COP, but India and China, they strongly support that, and they keep that framework alive also in that. So basically related to the sustainability. And so also they want to develop another area, a green building area, like now we are, because if in India, if there is a certification process for the energy certification, energy auditing, similarly for the LEED certification, which is a very highly specialist area to understand the building physics. And then on that basis, he will get the certification, and he can, as a specialist area, then he can design it, and he can also give a better solution for the green buildings in that. So training, many opportunities. It will also create a lot of employment in that area. Right? That is the thing. So generally, the LEED programs are new construction, existing building also. We have a LEED program for the commercial interiors, system for the homes, even LEED for the neighborhood developments. These are the 6 areas. So what are the benefits? Why I should get the LEED certification? There are many benefits. Few of them are like, I have definitely, the building will have a less reduced energy. That even when I was talking about energy efficiency, I told every country has got the energy utility index, EUI. I know some country for the various kinds of building, and this different kinds of building with certain assumptions, they create the benchmark. So that benchmark is always taken on that basis, these people always try to design. Even lead also has got certain point. On that basis, you have weightages also in that. And then you are obviously, when you have a reduced energy, your operating cost will be also less, and your construction waste also to be minimized as much as possible. And then it has got a chain, a supply chain. When your construction waste is reduced and your recycling also become less and like this. So you have don't have reduced liability, more you have more durability of the building's life is also increasing. It also supports the local economy by creating so much employment, so much organization, specialities in the green buildings, and so much documentation we have to do, all direct employment and indirect employment. And then when you lead certificate building, it always brings a lot of values, greater resale value also. And then it also give the improved indoor air quality in that. And when we have the rating system, it was the process like quantitative measures, various points are there. Then project registration, documentation is very, very important. I hope some of you must have already gone through this exercise. So how difficult, and sometimes when we go for a documentation, many people feel that why we have to undergo all the things. It leads even sometimes to frustration also. So the documentation application, because they are trying to create, but now the system is more online, and it helps actually, but technology always improving in that. Then you also get the certification, then professional accreditation also in that. So basically, the process begins when the owner select the rating system and register what type of rating system the project. See the rating system selection, basically on what rating we have to go. The project is then designed to meet the requirement for all the pre-requests, because when you go for lead, it's a very big document. All points were given, you have to go. Different kinds of scaling is the ratings are there. So what type of building you are going to construct, at that time itself you decide it. And then obviously we always go for a platinum one. And so for that, but again, depends upon whether you cost analysis at that time. Is what the costing is also involved. What are the implications? How much value it is going to add? How much resale value? Many things we have to work out on that. All these credits. After documentation has been submitted for a certification, a project goes through a preliminary and final reviews. And the preliminary review provides a technical advice on credits that require additional work for achievement. And the final review contains the project's final score and certification level. So the decision can be appealed if a team believes additional consideration is warranted. It's a very open, transparent system actually. And this basically has some level of certification. They called us silver, basically certified silver, gold, and platinum. But these points I have wrongly noted down. Maybe you can also check it out. Actual points are only next point. This is basically platinum. Total points are 69. And the platinum is, you can also clarify to me. Platinum is 52 plus above is platinum. Gold is 32 to 50. And silver is 33, 38. And below silver is 26 to 38 in that. This for the various kinds of certification. Yeah, platinum building means it's a perfect building. It's really, I'm very proud. I'm a platinum certified building in that. So this is what the points actually. And then we have also, every rating system has got credits. So on what weightage they give. Now, in the site selection, they give 22% of the credit. Water efficiency, they give 8%. So how we can improve the water efficiency? Or by using recycling, by using water, like for example, this is again, may not be a air conditioning system design. And maybe for the MEP, part of the MEP, you may have, nowadays, there's so much concept in restroom and all the things, dry urine, all these type of things are coming that you can always, the MEP engineer, they consider there are standards. Then when it comes to energy and atmosphere, this is how probably our role becomes more important. It's also equally 27% major role here. Then materials and resources, here probably our role may be very limited when it comes to the selection of the materials, because we have limited choice in ducting, piping, and all the things. It is again a standard says in that, but still we can always use as per the like, instead of going for pipe, MS pipe in the chill water pipeline, if the LEED certification recommends, if the site as per the site condition, if I can go for HDPE pipes, and it scores some point, and I will prefer for that. So you have also a role on the material sources. Then come to the indoor environmental quality. This is again, as an air conditioning engineer, you have a different role, different thing. You will understand everything in there. So if you see overall, and almost 50% is again related with the air conditioning only, and that. Okay. And then when it goes, when we say any site, basically, as much as possible, cities are expanding, so they develop satellite cities, and then how much green cities we have to develop. Even that is on that concept only. This carbon credit now started now, about 5-10 years ago. Some countries they really need energy. So on that basis only, I go and take it and take the credit in underdeveloped countries or developing countries. That point. So that is also that is called a CDM, Clean Development Mechanism. We call it as CDM, Clean Development Mechanism in that. Similarly, we also how we are managing this stormwater. Even for example, rain harvest. It is also another one technology. I still remember this rain harvest technology has been very efficiently introduced in down south, particularly in Chennai, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Most of the groundwater was used, and then everywhere there's so much water shortage in Chennai, and because city has expanded so badly, and then government has become a statutory requirement. Not only in Chennai, I think the whole Tamil Nadu they implemented. Every house should have a rain harvesting system, and very beautiful technology. It is a very simple technology. It costs only about a few thousands real, and then definitely the groundwater level has increased. They proved it after 10 years, and this is what I'm telling the advancement of the science. Just an example I'm telling in that. Similarly, how best we can use the recycled water and innovative wastewater technology for the water efficiency and water use reduction. So especially, I know how many people in places like Delhi and all the thing. Still, I don't know whether the building has made a statutory requirement for the rainwater harvesting. But in Tamil Nadu, if you go there, rainwater harvesting is a statutory requirement. Every municipality, even up to the panchayat level, the panchayat level people will come and they check, and I will ensure that your rainwater harvesting system is in every house, flat, everything in that. Obviously, group housing society or residences that are multi-story buildings, that is a must. But even the individual houses, and that really helped to improve the water level in the ground actually. And then we come to the energy and atmosphere and building system and minimum energy performance. We have done very interesting on energy. That's what we have ECPC, energy conservation building codes. And then this, how much CFC reduction, what are you are in the building and in the HVAC. This also I told you, the chlorofluorocarbons was really a serious ozone depleting substances. All basically started from methane group. This chlorine was very culprit, which escapes because CFCs are one of the ideal refrigerants. And because when it leaks, nobody can smell. And it escapes, and then chlorine atom diffuses into the ozone, and it depleted the ozone layer in there. And similarly, we have optimized the energy performance by using all energy modeling, renewable energy, how best we can use now even the solar energy, particularly the efficiency of the solar energy, maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, or very, very less. But now, because of the manufacturing technology advancement, the efficiency has considerably increased also. And Europe, though they don't have much source for solar energy, I have seen in Germany many places, and they put solar panels, whereas their production may be only 3 months in a year. But countries like India, where we have most of the places, like particularly southern part, tropical climate, throughout the year you have the sun shining energy, and the renewable energy should be considered. And India is doing very good work now. I know that, but I am very much worried about this Middle East. And similarly, wind energy. I know my own village 40-50 years ago, nothing was there. But when I was 10 years old. This means somebody has really a wise man found out the data, and then they started installing windmills. Now in one Tamil Nadu government, I think 10 to 15% of the total energy is going from the wind energy in that particular district, because we generally in certain period, starting from first week of June till September, we get so much southeast monsoon. The wind will come with high speed, and that really creates so much production that time also. So similarly, elimination of even hydrochlorofluorocarbons, it's a part of CFCs, and all these type of things, energy, under the energy atmosphere. Here only, you as a HVAC design engineer, you can focus more on that. Other things, you may have a general idea, then probably you can always tell in your meetings in that. So then normally for energy performance, they give what are your intent above this much standard to reduce excessive energy use. For that, you get this much point. And energy performance also, sustainable building blocks, the ideal architectural glass. What type, even in the you have to interact with the architectural, what type of glass, because mainly the glass load, orientation of the building, these are the thermal effects. As even I told you, various form of even chilled water beams, innovative technologies like that. So this all depends upon, you may not be able to directly decide it, but you can always ask your architectural people, owner, if you have all these values and everything, you can suggest them actually in that. Because many times the architectural design, basically they design the building from the aesthetic point of view for them, but they give massive glass area, and then probably the shading factors. So these are all the things where you can always talk to them in that. Now we come to the materials and resources. And as much as possible, we try to use, if you want to use a recyclable material, there is a certain points. Suppose if I am using concrete block, which is developed from the recycled material. We have done a sustainable one house here in Sultan Qaboos University. So there, whatever the construction waste from there we collected, and then we developed hollow blocks from the construction waste material. So for that, there is a point for that. And then as a construction waste is also a very huge amount of that one. From the construction waste management, how we can manage it, and recycle, because always you should have a concept from wealth from the waste. This is also another emerging concept everywhere. And then you have also the blockchain. This is also another technology which a lot of specialists are coming. They come and advise, very specialized in that. So then as much as possible, local materials, availability of local materials. That is very important. How best you are using the local material. Now I want to design a building in my there. I know the availability of local materials. Maybe the neem wood will be more available. Now instead of that, if I want to get specialized teak wood or something which is get to come from different place, isn't it? So just for example, I'm telling. So as much as possible, you should always use the available local material within the prescribed boundaries of your building codes in that. And renewable materials, various type of renewable energy. If the wind is available, go for wind energy. If the solar energy is available, solar energy, and then biofuel, and then use as much as certified product actually in that. Then come to the environmental, indoor environmental quality. And we talked many things about that. Then how much smoke control system. But now awareness has increased. If you see 20 years ago, 30 years ago, everywhere people smoke, even the public place. Even in the developed countries now, smoking in the public place really has become banned now. This is the greatest achievement. It's really helped the institution as by imposing a strict law. They are able to control this tobacco, at least in smoking in the public place. And then we also monitor various places, carbon dioxide monitoring, ventilation effectiveness, because as per our standard, we have studied all these ASHRAE standards, when indoor air quality management plan, and low emitting materials, when usage from the source itself, then elimination of that one, then chemical pollutant. This we have done a specialized course on that. You know that. So when you are going to design, when it comes to indoor environmental quality, all these factors can be considered. You can score the point in that. Similarly, thermal comfort, daylight, and the views. Majority of the buildings, office buildings in Middle East country, architect will put so much this thing, and then even in the all the time, daytime also the building also completely illuminated, and the lux level is also so high in that. And many places you can find out, particularly I've seen in star hotels, they put chandelier actually. In the chandelier, they put each the incandescent bulb. Each bulb may cost about 120 watts. Each bulb. So one chandelier may consist of about 10 to 15, depending upon that. And just imagine. So one chandelier consumes more than higher than 2 ton air conditioner capacity. So this just I'm telling an example actually. So this is what a good architect. If you see most of the malls now, I've seen now they are normally from the roof. They allow how this natural light comes into that, and then thereby they save. This all come to the analysis in that. So this gives a lot of points for you when you want to apply for that in that. So as I told you, you have to always, you don't completely isolate that one. You're building occupant and between the indoor space and the outdoor through the introduction of daylight and use into the regular occupied areas of the building in that. It is not like all the time you want to design a cinema theater, you know. Uh, so it all depends upon that. So similarly, pre-design innovation, you come with innovative ideas. So this is also some of the website, you can get more detail on that lead. Now, when it comes to economical aspect of the lead, this was generally the objective and how the lead is developed and various major strategies. Now, come to the economical aspect. I have read in SIP's journal. This was, as I told you, Chartered Institution of Building Service Engineer. In that journal in 2010, I read an article. Almost 1 billion square feet projects have been officially certified with the LEED. This is about 11 years ago. That means that time. Now it has been definitely, because within 10 years, within 1 decade, 2 decades, they have almost achieved 1 billion square feet. And 6 billion square feet of projects are registered and working towards LEED. So in spite of this fact, faster development in building service industry, still there is a general apprehension that green buildings may cost more to build than conventional building, especially when incorporating more advanced technologies and higher levels of LEED requirements, because this is a general apprehension in that. But this is how our analysis, if you consider the life cycle cost of the building, including the intangible measurement, that is called as environmental costs, which normally we don't consider it. Nowadays, this is what the carbon rating, carbon credit, this all comes under the environmental cost in that. So if you take into the account of this environmental cost into that one, definitely it will not be, it's not expensive, it's not costly in that. But there are, as I told you, there will be always other school of thought. Now, even when the Montreal Protocol was there, when ozone hole was depleted, there were some, throughout the world, scientists were working for alternative refrigerants. Throughout the world, starting from 80s, people started. Many people have various professional organizations, they sponsoring the research, and people were working. And but there were some school of thought. They told they know, but that is something different. Everywhere there will be always criticism. So same way, green also, for the LEED also there is a criticism, and they are telling that LEED is not focusing mostly on the carbon dioxide and energy key factors in current, because this is the basically the more climate change crisis on the carbon monoxide and all the thing in that. They are focusing, but the weightage probably less. This is what their grievances, this is what the criticism. And in the design level, everything is perspective. But when it comes to execution part, probably we are not able to achieve that one. This is what some of the comments, what they're telling. And they're also telling some basis, then it's also become too complicated and too much bureaucratic and expensive. These are general criticism, negative. Not, I don't say negative criticism. reasonable criticism in that. So whenever any lead project, when you are starting now, first stage itself, is it possible? What are the prerequisites? Is all are possible? Checklist. Are any credits required? What type of credits? Identify the automatic default credits. Some of the things automatically, because of the site selection, you are already selected automatical. The non-viable credit, whatever non-viable credits, you have to list out, to identify it, eliminate it, and additional high cost credits. What are the high cost credits? I really want to put, like for example, when I was doing this lead certification process, we wanted to use the recycled water because it is a very big museum. We use huge amount of water. As I told you, even we also, because it is a dry area, it is inside the desert. So majority of the year, the humidity is very low. So we thought that we can combine evaporative cooling and with the air conditioning system. And by at the cost of, I know humidity goes very high. But after that, I take better ADP, or I can use even silica gel dehumidifier, but I could save huge amount of energy. And that much water we were recycling or wasting. And then we thought that so that water can be recycled through the sewage treatment plant. And then that treated water can be used for the landscaping purpose, because it is a very massive area. So we have so much greeneries. So the greeneries needs water. But there was objection. No, as a policy matter, we don't use this treated water. Then we have to go and sit with them, convince them, and then they understand. And then after that, but by the time the points, actually, some people have a high psychological effect also on that. And similarly, possible innovation. This is what some innovation creates, like you always try to in the building how you can use innovative design, or how you can embed it, the renewable energy within your building. Somewhat even, or you call this building intelligent building now, completely automated. If that type of thing, some creative, innovative, because even 20 years ago I read like the places like Mumbai, where the floor space is at the premium. So they have designed intelligent building. So the building can occupy, designed for 1,000 people occupancy. But because of your monitoring, exact monitoring, and the software, the intelligent building, even 5,000 people can be used. 5,000 can use in that. So this all on paper, it may be right. How practically it was impossible, I was reading maybe 20 years ago. So that type of building implementation and execution and practical difficulties, so far we have a long way to go on that. So these are some of the process for a leading planning stage. Then when you go for the certification process, after that registration, then identify the responsibilities, collect and submit all the documents, because documentation is very important in the lead certification process. And then get the building certification. Is also cost fees based. You have to submit the fees in that. So any certification process consists of, there is an expert, isn't it? You have an asset, you have a client, and then there should be auditor, and then there should be a certificate. So these people always guide you. The experts will always be there. They will always come, even starting small thing also to end any certification process. There are experts who advise you, and then you have to again supply the documentation to the regulatory authority, and then accordingly you get the certification. This is general process in that. So this is what basically we started about the lead. Now come to the other standards. We start about well. From the name itself, you can understand lead and well. In fact, the people who started this concept of lead, they only went and they started this one. This is again to attract the standard is the latest way for the stakeholders in the commercial real estate industry, both owners and occupants. See, people like in India, it's a simple economics, demand and supply. If you go in Delhi in 1980s, 85, because after 1970s, when Janakpuri, I know some people may be familiar with the Delhi area. Delhi was expanding in the east part as well as west part. Eastern part was mostly after the Trans-Yamuna area, and western part is towards Haryana, this Najafgarh and that area, west part. So Janakpuri was the largest residential colony in Asia. So that was well planned. They developed, but that time we don't have multi-story building. They have only mostly the government started developing like DDA, Delhi Development Authority, and they started the government buildings. They have various kinds of building like LIG, low income group, middle income group, and high income group, or group courses like that. That was concept was 1970s or maybe late up to 80s. So completely saturated. And the Delhi cities, people are coming for a job. Like when I went for a Delhi in 1985, very difficult. Most of the time, we always sublet. Maybe the problem maybe still worse in Mumbai. I still remember when in 83, when I got a job in Air India, very categorically they told that they will never ever help anything for the accommodation. This was the situation that those days. And even similarly, Larsen and Toubro also. No, they don't, people like from down south, when I really want to some help from the organization, that is your thing, you have to find out. So even the paying guest concept, everything started in Mumbai. And that particularly the society, group housing society, multi-story building, market in Mumbai has become more matured. And in Delhi was not that much matured, that is not there. And then government started another one area, which is another in the west part of the Delhi. From Janakpuri, they developed Rohini, another sector, housing sector, but that is not, that was a failure. But the government also learned from their mistake. Then end of 80s or beginning of 90s, they thought that it's very difficult. Then they started a very big concept called as Gwaraha, very near to the airport. And all these group coaching societies they developed. And within 10 years, 20 years, it has, and then the metro started coming, and the city, complete city concept has changed in that, isn't it? So similarly, if you go to Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, they developed, I remember probably in 90s. At least now, that what I mean to say is it's all simple economy, supply and demand. But if you go to Europe and all the things, it is not like that. For them, when they want to give the real estate to any owner, he has to provide everything. He has to attract his client. And people also, whatever the rent I'm paying, for that I want to get the value for that. So in India also nowadays the concept has changed now. Every builders, they are attracting my buildings like this is like that. So same way, it is very tough because of the competition and strict quality control. So that is how this well. The main difference between lead and well is well standard, the returns and efficiencies result from the investment in the wellness. That means they are psychologically, they are talking about they give more emphasis on the occupancy of the buildings. When the occupancy of the building, they give more weightage. So they will tell, look, my building has this much advantage when you are occupying my building. You have this type of benefits, which is benefiting more on you from your health point of view and from other return of investment in that. So the health issues of the tenants or employees may appear to be a remote worry for the building owners, or whatever it is. That is a general concept. But there are some people, research also found out the tenants and employees will take these matters to court to seek damages. In Europe and the US, definitely the law is very thin, and there are lawyers are available. Many times, if you go to in US, any of the supermarket, there you can see a lot of board. If you are having any issues with this quality or anything, please contact. Because they go to the court and they get the compensation. Because sometimes I used to ask my daughter, she used to go for organic. Everywhere they go for organic shop, and it's slightly expensive. I was just casually asking, as a typical long back, 5-6 years ago, Betty, why you are paying this much? Are you sure this will be a correct organic? Maybe they put that. You don't know. If I have any difficulty in that, of course, now the consumer society, everywhere it is there. Even India is also there. But the implementation, those countries are definitely, the institutions are very powerful. India also it is there. I'm not telling that, but maybe the ignorance also. Many people may not be knowing. And then you also have this marketing, advertisement industry. They also mesmerize the people. And probably the accountability is also very less in that. So that is how the ethical standard probably in that. There could be a lot of debate about the quality of the content of the advertisement in Indian industries. I think that will be a different topic in that. So the building owners, they thought that how I can market my. So they have started this well standard. That is called as a well standard, even well fit standard is there, which is I'm coming in there. Mainly it is in Europe as well as some of the US also. So the private buildings, schools, it may be a particular interest to those in commercial leasing contract, because most of the time they lease this building in that. So it is all the interest of the owners to attract the high quality of the tenants and of tenants to maximize their own or their employees' health, satisfaction, and productivity. So the main difference between lead and well is though many of the things are common, what they are emphasizing more is the health and well-being of the occupancy in that. So why this intention of the well standard is for designing the building that supports the wellness through a performance-based certification system, and that allows the best practices in design and construction with evidence-based medical and scientific research. So that is the idea. Well started actually. So it focuses on 7 specific areas where improvements can be made in the light, lux level, from where the light has to come, what type of quality of light and comfort, air, and then how inside environment. Nowadays, everybody, so much information are available, and fitness. And for example, for better controls, light can minimize the disruption to the person's rhythm and result in an environment in energy, mood, and productivity. So this is sort of some of the examples how this well standard started developing. It is not only for the new projects, even for the can be implemented in stages also. It is not necessary immediately to the construction stage. The well standard is designed to complement the work harmoniously with lead. It is not to fight with the lead or something. It has to be complementary to with the lead. And the other international green building standards also in that. So that is what basically we call as Green Globe, Green Business Certification. We call as Green Globe actually that. So it is becoming more of an acceptation that owners and developers will spend money to achieve an accreditation as a lead certification. Also, owners and employees are looking to attract and retain high quality tenants and employees in this competitive market. So in response, investments are being made in both environmental friendly initiative, which can also provide cost savings and the health and well-being of the tenants and their employees that occupy the buildings. I'm just telling an example. Now in Chennai, this Godrej, though it is slightly far away from the city, but still a lot of multinationals companies who are having production, they prefer this building because of the sustainable green building, because they know the brand name. Godrej is a brand, maybe same way in Mumbai, various buildings will be there. But Chennai as a multi-story culture started emerging now only for the last 10 years. Before that, we don't have this type of particular real estate, because people psychologically, they may not be, even in Delhi it was there earlier days. Everybody wanted to have, because it is a horizontal expansion. We don't have much vertical expansion except some areas, Nehru Place and all these places. Now only if you go to Dwaraha, everywhere it is high-rise buildings in that. So basically the idea of well standard is to provide for designing to support the wellness way performance based. This is what I was talking in that. So if you see what are the comparison between lead and well, lead is designed to focus on buildings. Well is places focus on people also. At the same time, it is not focusing on building. In addition that, they give the weightage for the people's well-being also. That is the difference. So it started by the same people who started the lead. So those people must have organization who established, and some of the people must be from Europe, and they must have started and this as a well program in that. So to be a LEED certified, a facility must meet specific standard to demonstrate that it has taken the significant steps to reduce water, energy, and fuel consumption, reduce the amount of waste it generates, as well as the other steps to help reduce the environmental footprint. So LEED requirement also would include designing the building to protect the natural resources. So these standards are very fielding focused, and this is also there in well also in that, but well gives some more advantage on the wellness of the occupancy in that. For example, they talk various So, like for example, a facility must pass at least 2 indoor air quality checks. So there will be more stringent controls on that. So there is one before it is occupied, and the second after it has been occupied for several months. So the process is designed to ensure that healthy indoor quality is maintained once the facility is fully operational. So that's what well program requires, that the building windows are operational, can open and close, no smoking allowed in the facility. This type of thing, like for how we can emphasize on the good air. And similarly, how we can reduce this type of VOCs. Now come to the water. When it comes to the water, as much as possible, how best you have the potable water. And there must be how much, what type of filtration level. Again, what is it meeting the specific standard? What WHO is recommending? And this type of things are very clear. And how much level of fluoride. So these all very clearly, they give more weightages on that. And similarly, lights, as I told you, the LEED program also encourages the use of daylighting. It does so mainly to reduce energy consumption. While the well program, light must ensure good visual activity when performing a variety of tasks to avoid eye strain and to minimize productivity losses and headaches. So that is what the wellness always, that is scientific based, performance based, and then they give you the points in that. And then fitness, it is not necessarily for a fitness means always we need a gym, include the facility. If you include a gym, definitely it will help. That, but the daily task with the vigor and alertness, maybe if you provide a good pathway, and then ample energy for the leisure time to pursue the response to the emergencies. So this type of things called as a fitness. Then comfort is the noise. Of course, the air conditioning is different, but noise is also another one. As I told you, noise pollution is another important one. Many times, I have also done some analysis. The cities, the horning on the car. No, I think I have seen some video how the people always put horn without knowing, unknowingly also. That has become habitual. So our ears have accustomed with that. So when you go to the other countries, you see that difference. Many of you must have traveled extensively, or even if you come to this Dubai or Middle East, horning a car is offensive here. If I am driving, if other person is also doing a mistake, I can put my horn in that, but not like there. No, the sound pollution actually. The sound pollution is also very important. So these are the points generally they talk about in that. So how this again will fit well. Fit well is only about 3 years old, 4 years old. It started like a well is an evidence standard created through expert analysis of nearly 6,000 academic research studies about the health and well-being. Because building science, building physics is an emerging science in Europe. There are various institutions, Building Research Institute in US, in UK, PRI, and then SIPS also, they do a lot of fundamental research. And with all this type of leading universities, Oxford, Cambridge, they do a lot of research in that. And then by even CDCs actually, and the General Service Administration. So that's how they started occupational health focused. See, if you see earlier days, we talk about HSE, health and safety environment. But this HSE is emerging as a very, very important subject for the last 30, 40 years. Maybe 50 years or 60 years ago, that experts are very limited. The reason is very simple. Even HSE for the construction industries, they normally have a different kind of courses. The same HSE expert, when you go to the oil industry, they have different, because for them, the training, productivity equipments, manufacturing industries, HSE experts are a different kind of thing in that. So after that, they called us occupational health safety and standard. This is also another institution which they talk about, mainly related with the health sectors in that. And all these type of things, it comes to the fit well in that. So LEED, well, Now come to the BREEAM. In fact, BREEAM I should have discussed first, because this is a BREEAM is the original one actually. Later stage only all this come in that. It is standard basically assessment technology, general one, improves environmental performance and building improves. It's all general one basically, and not much in that. So, but the weightage and star ratings, there they have a certification, like we have platinum, gold, silver, and certified. But here they are giving the star rate, like they based on the percentage. If it is less than 10%, it is unclassified. If it is greater than 10%, it is acceptable. If it is greater than 25, pass. Greater than 40, it's good, 2-star. And greater than 55, very good. And greater than 70 means excellent. That is basically 5-star. Outstanding, greater than 85 is, and 6-star in that. So they have the star ratings in that. This normally happens everywhere, because even these professional institutions, when you apply. I remember last time people are told how to get this C engineering certification process, whether it's IMEC or even SIPS also. They also have this type of star rating point also. The weightage is that. But I will send that rating, that PowerPoint presentation. I just have to find out that one. I will send it in that. Because there you have to have so much documentation and various activities, various points, and which area you are working. Suppose you are working as a design engineer, you have to also have evidence-based, or what type of projects you have done, what you have done, all this, there are points are there. On that basis, you have to prepare a complete documentation. Then you have to go and then you have to appear for the personal interview, as well as sometimes they conduct the test also. And then for that, there are some examiners. In Oman, I was examiner for the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, actually, for their certification process in that. Even SIPS also, sometimes I was there later stage, other people have taken over it. So the BREEAM is basically the first sustainability rating scheme for the built environment. This was the one. This is what I'm telling you. It has even started from the lead. And you have almost 2.25 million registered buildings, almost more than 500,000 certified buildings. They are using BREEAM is used in 78 countries, mainly in Europe side, and robust science and evidence. And they always follow this holistic assessment and sustainability issues in that. And as I told you, well and BREEAM, how basically they are related in that. And well, building standard, actually, building standard that is introduced in 2014. As I told you, it always taking care of. It is started by this International Well Building Institute, IBWF. The certifications to the Green Business Certification Company, also GBCIC. So these all business ideas, and then in overall, the end user also getting a benefit out of that. Now, we talked about LEED, we talked about well, and then we talked about the BREEAM. When it comes to Green Globe, actually, and it's a worldwide benchmarking and certification program that facilitates sustainable travel and tourism for consumers, companies, and communities. It is based on agenda and 21 principles for sustainable development endorsed by 182 government at the United Nations 1992. Maybe nowadays you may have a concept called as SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. In the UN, the United Nations Environment Program, there is so much school of thought in that. So in that Sustainable Development Goals, they concentrate many things. SDGs, we call it as Sustainable Development Goals. In that, many factors involved in that, including community assets, social institutions, and all the things in that. So normally, generally they are same point only: energy, indoor environment, site conservation, water, resources, emissions, project environmental management. So this is what the Green Globes focus. But again, it's a general format. After almost, if we achieve this one, 30% of the total number of 1,000 points. Here the points are varying in that. New and existing commercial building can be certified for their environmental achievements and sustainability by pursuing the Green Globe certification that assigns a rating of 1 or the 4 globes in that. Somewhere with that basis, even there are many multinational companies companies like Microsoft, Amazon. They always have international presence, so they normally use this type of green globes everywhere in that. And they have various documentation, stage 1, stage 2. Green globe is also based on that and only. And then they can do and then extend in different buildings also. And because green globe also encourages the continual improvement in of the existing buildings. So extensive documentation review and an on-site visit and walk through the interview of the facilities manager and chief engineer during the maintenance time also how they are doing. So these are all the highlights of the green globes in that. And then we also know about the Energy Star. Energy Star is basically, you may come, sir, nowhere we are talking about the Energy Star, but if you see in chiller and all this, we talked about the Energy Star rating, then we also started using this ER and all the things in the refrigeration equipment. So this is again introduced by the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. It's also a very big institution in US. We have discussed many times various standards, EPA standard. Similarly, like for how they are talking about the FDA, isn't it? Same way, EPA is also another important authority, regulatory authority in that for the environmental product environment. So they normally one of the main business of EPA is energy consumption, because the entire environment, whatever the energy we are going to produce, the side effect of the energy production is carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. So it pollutes the environment. So that's what the energy consumption and energy efficiency. That is the reason they started introducing this Energy Star, and then different ratings for the residential and commercial buildings in that. So we have home energy rating systems, and these are all some of the websites. Probably you can go for that. Everything they have residential and all this. Why I am telling this Energy Star, and I'm coming afterwards in that, because I want to highlight how it is different from the certification process. LEED, as well as the BREEAM, as well as WELL, and other certification process, how it is different. So that is what I want to talk about the energy, this one. Similarly, for commercial also various points they have given: commercial building, residential building. Okay, so this is given in that. So now I'm having set all this type of this thing. I wish I wanted to compare with all the certification process. I should have also included WELL as well as Globe also. But I'm just comparing the latest, the most, the brand actually, like a BREEAM as well as LEED. So the title is the Building Research Establishment Environmental Assessment Method for the Communities. This is what the full short expansion of the BREEAM: Building Research Establishment Environmental Assessment Method. That's what method for communities. LEED, that Leadership in Energy and Environment Design, Neighborhood Development. So who are the developer for the BREEAM? The Building Research Establishment, BRE, in UK based in that. Who are the developer for the LEED? United States Green Building Council in that. Now come to what are the groups for the under the BREEAM? What are the criteria? You have a climate, energy, resources, place saving, transport, movement and community, ecology, biodiversity, business and economic building. These all with the various groups and addressing that. We have a lot of groups on that. Similarly, when it comes to the LEED, basically site, smart location, how it is linked actually, and then how the design pattern, how infrastructure buildings, innovation ideas, how much these are the points we discussed also, how the design process, integration design process, and the regional priority of regional materials are based on the grade based in that. So the rating system, when it comes to BREEAM, they have the rating systems, as I told you, star based or number based out of 100, percentage based. 80, more than 85 they call outstanding, then excellent, very good, good, and pass. That is less than 45 they call pass. It's just like our academic standard. Anything you score more than 50, you are pass. Less than 50, they fail. Or if you score 70%, you are 60 to 70%, you are first class. If you score more than 75, your distinction, like that. No, same way. Same way here, the rating systems are platinum, gold, silver, bronze in that are certified. Now, the how you assessment their method? How do that? There is a third party here, also third party, and then education and accreditation through the PRE Global. Here they are using the Green Building Council actually that. So these are the major comparison between the LEED as well as the BREEAM Index. So I'm just putting a graphical BREEAM and LEED, and then I also included a German one actually. German also they have same like gold, silver, bronze, and not certified. But only thing, for example, they may be more even if you score 50%, not certified. If you remember, this is what I want to highlight. If you go to the arts those days, nowadays I don't know about academic score. In engineering colleges, every subject we have to score minimum of 50% for the pass mark. Normal universities, in IITs, we have a credit system in that, and there also they put grades: A plus, A, B, B plus, C, D, like that. So for that, there are certain ranges they normally give. And but if you go to the arts college, normal those who pursue a bachelor's of degree in BA arts, BA, like that, their pass mark is only 35. Even schooling, of course, in school also and higher secondary, I think 35 or 40 is a pass mark in that. So it all depends upon. BREEAM has got this one, like LEED, if you see that one, even if you score 40%, you are certified. But the same building in Germany, they don't score. They will score only if you score more than 50%, then only it's called they pass actually. Minimum standard, bronze in that. So this is just for comparison. Probably this will help you comparison on the certification process, and it will also help you to assess your buildings, and you can always help your client or end user and architect to advise them in that. Now, when it comes to the certification process, when I talk about the certification process, we have interim certificate in the LEED. It's a conditional. BREEAM interim certificate they give. LEED it is a conditional, and for DGNAB it is a pre-certificate planning certificate they give. But whereas BREEAM, the planning stage itself, final certificate, the post-construction stage. And whereas LEED, during certification process, these are the some comparison between BREEAM, LEED, as well as the German-based DGNP in that. So having said all these things up to now, what we have studied basically, we know the green building, what are the advantages of green building, why, how much economically we can save, and based on the sustainable development, and then how this institution started developing, and then the whole international various, every country has followed a different kind of rating, but the core issue is, common issue is the green sustainable development. The common core issue is sustainable development. Depending upon the countries, code countries one, they normally rate it in that. Yeah, I will take only another 5 minutes. I don't take much of your time. So this is just for the comparison purpose. And then now I'm coming to the last part of my presentation, my lecture, which I was telling about the high performance buildings. So we should also, what is the difference between high performance building and this LEED certification? So it addresses same almost core concept, human, environmental, economic, and total impact application in all the stages. So high performance buildings have standards that are created, measured, and continuously validated to deliver an established outcomes within the specific tolerances. So normally for the high performance buildings, the standards are typically set for the energy and water consumption, system reliability, environmental compliance, indoor air quality, and occupant healthy, safety and comfort. And the standards also should be set and priorities. I will just take only a few minutes. I know everybody have to. I'm sorry. Actually, I make you to wait also. I will just now I want to know what is the difference between a high performance building and the programs, certification program. And so LEED is an internationally respected third-party verification system. It focuses on the energy and environmental priorities, measuring building performance along 5 dimensions. That is sustainable site development, water usage, energy efficiency, material and resources used, and indoor air quality. And then I was talking about the Energy Star. I mentioned you. The Energy Star is basically a government-backed program. Every government always allow this type of Energy Star is required to allow my product to be used in this country. So that helps the business and consumers choose energy efficient product and practices. So Energy Star began a voluntary product labeling program in 1992, and today it provides energy guidance and recommendation for use in homes, building, and products. You must have seen a lot of unitary type of air conditioners. All the star ratings are there. So the high performance building concept incorporates elements of both LED as well as the Energy Star program. This is what is taking everything together, and then the performance they are telling that. The concept goes substantially beyond the energy and environment parameters that define this two highly successful program. The concept encompasses all the major high performance building attributes, including energy efficiency, durability, life cycle performance, and occupant productivity in that. So a LEED building, a high performance can be definitely be a LEED certified building in that. And so that is a major difference in that. So finally, I want to talk about as a design engineer, as much as possible, you know that the passive design and active design. When I mention the passive design, as much as possible, you allow the natural resources to use in your design as an architect, even natural ventilation, which we discussed actually. Probably even tomorrow's class, we will talk more on the ventilation, smoke pressurization, stairway pressurization also in that. So which is a natural movement. We allow the natural convection, and whatever we do, a mechanical ventilation is a forced convection, forced ventilation in that. So it consumes energy. So this is how the passive design. So as much as possible, you allow the natural movement of the heat, air, and light, natural light into the internal area, you know, for a building comfortable. So for the natural movement, there is a reduced need for the energy consuming. So active design is basically you provide all whatever we are doing as a design engineer. Even when you design, you can always go for the passive design also. Every building you can always, even for air conditioning, you can allow for the passive design. Many aspects you can combine anything in that. You can make it as an active design as a passive design by your innovative ideas also. Like for example, the free cooling measure proposed must be verified and the energy reduction shown when compared to the mechanical system. So this is generally carried out via dynamic simulation modeling with the free cooling energy demand compared with the mechanical system and the associated energy. For example, we have some concept geothermal building cooling. I think Delhi based on consultant, I interacted with them. He has done so much projects in the eastern part of here in Bhutan and all these things in that. I don't remember. I read a lot of his articles in that. So even we have a Central Building Research Institute. I think they are also collaborating with that. So this type of concept in that. So when you go for a passive design, you always try to put the insulation, air tightness when you design aspect, allow the natural light, solar gain and loss by using a suitable glass, natural ventilation. And active design always use renewables, energy saving gadgets, sophisticated controls in that. So this is the final phase. This is a very interesting concept since you all are refrigeration people. Everybody is refrigeration engineers. So I thought that about the PCM, phase change material cooling. This is also, as I told you, refrigeration, there are many technologies. Vapor compression, vapor absorption, thermo EMF, Peltier effect, steam jet refrigeration. These all in the academically you must study. So similarly, we have also this phase change material. This is basically called, there is a project called as cool phase. I have read some research article. So it is basically is to provide powered fresh air ventilation, but with the added capability of storing and discharging large amount of latent heat of thermal energy, either to use the thermal mass for certain type of product. So this is like the system incorporates a micro encapsulated phase change material. is a particular material. The material name is also there. You can just do. Some people are doing this academically. Many people are doing lots of research. Many people have done even their research also, master's project and all things. So that they always allow the latent thermal energy, to allow up to of thermal storage and supplying around the 1 kilowatt of cooling at any one time. So by passing this PCM through a series of precision engineered spiral wound heat exchangers, a significant temperature differential can be achieved as air is drawn through the system. So this is all achieved using a fraction of the power required to run a traditional AC system. I was telling, I have 3-4 weeks ago, one student from Chennai, not even Chennai, interior part of village. I don't know how he got my name. He has sent me, he's an electronics diploma in electronics engineer. Even I can share that photos. How he was using this thermo EMF. And even in fact, now he's also filing a patent for that. Is when I advised him, please go ahead, and the prototype he's making in that. Similarly, as I also last time I shared, I don't know, you people have gone through that seawater air conditioning. It is not a rocket technology. Seawater air conditioning is used in some part of the US. And even India also has got very good potential on that. So these are all some of the ideas. Just I have done one about this. I thought that it may be related to your air conditioning. That's what I've taken this one. Just explaining about that. This also I read in research paper. For example, the wax held within a robust polymer shell. The wax core changes state from solid to liquid and vice versa. You know that phase change in that. The wax stores and releases thermal energy. So however, due to the nature of the phase changing material, the thermal storage capacity far exceeds that of the material of a similar volume. So to put in a context, 1 centimeter thick layer of PCM will have the same thermal mass as a 15 centimeter layer of concrete. So that each PCM capsule is roughly 2 to 5 microns in diameter. Just imagine, and suspended in an aqueous solution, PCM slurry, we call this. So when required, I know because one master student has made a prototype here when he was doing his research. When required, the slurry can be pumped to and from the uninsulated tanks through a heat exchanger. So unlike AC, the cool phase is not designed to maintain a specific temperature again, but rather air quality within a designated temperature range. So when it is automatic control strategy, the cool phase will seek to maintain a comfortable temperature range, and depending on the operating conditions, this cool phase system will try to increase or decrease the temperature of the air. But again, one disadvantage is the carbon dioxide, because when this phase change material, definitely you have to integrate the carbon dioxide sensor, because over in the temperature comfort, if the level exceeds more than this 12,000 ppm, the fresh air will have a problem in that. So it's not designed to maintain a specific temperature. I told you, it will definitely maintain their quality. However, the integrated CO2 sensor will always override the temperature control if the level exceeds 1200 ppm. So in basic terms, the cool phase system operates fully automatically under the conditions of fresh air, cooling, and the heat recovery. Under the cooling conditions, the PCM is used to absorb the heat from the air, and in heat recovery mode, the PCM is used to temper the incoming fresh air. That is what it that. And I have done some UK study in that how much not only the savings, but how much carbon dioxide savings also. This is very important. Just for a calculation, which is from the research paper I have taken. So that is a simple calculation for you. You can always read it in that. Environmental cost. I really purposely I put that one. So that's what, and this is my final slide. And thank you very much. And just summarize what are the things we have discussed. Sustainable development is definitely emerging as a need, actually, more than it is not it's a need now. If you don't go for a sustainable development, probably your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren, they cannot live peacefully in this world, in this planet. So we need, it's a must. So for that, the intelligent society, professional engineers, and everybody has started various institutions. And beginning of 90s, they started building rating system, certification process, and cities started expanding vertically and sometimes horizontally. So everywhere we need this type of institutions, voluntary organization. So the green building concept introduced. So in that way, US was the leader, UK, though they started, but the leader is from US. So they started US Green Building Council, various certification processes like LEED, and we have a BREEAM, and then we have a Globe Green, and then every country has got their own certification. But the core issue is mainly to create a green building in that. So, and then I also talked about the Energy Star rating, then high performance building. Then finally, as a air conditioning engineer, if you see most of the things, 50% of the credit goes to related to the air conditioning only. So you have a very important role in green building certification process. So that's what this subject is very, very important. And that is what you are here. And you should always, I know the green building, every time there's a apprehension that green buildings are very expensive, or this type of certification process is very expensive. But if you go for the life cycle of the building, it is not expensive. This is why you have to convince your owner or architect, and then the sellability of your real estate buildings also will increase. So that's all, and thank you very much for patiently listening to me, and thank you very much. Now I leave to you. You can. I know it must be very late also now, so I'm just leaving at that. Please, thank you very much. So Neeraj is there. Neeraj?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I have completed my presentation, and I know it must be almost approaching the 6 o'clock there now.
Any questions there? Any questions for Pinnacle?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Sorry, we didn't get you. Maybe some issue. Can you please repeat? No, right now we don't have any questions. We'll ask you if required.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So let us meet tomorrow at the same time, and probably tomorrow will be another interesting topic about the stairwell pressurization and smoke evacuation
Okay, definitely.
system. But that is also slightly far away from air conditioning, but it will be very interesting because air conditioning also plays a very important role for the supply and return air, particularly the high-rise buildings. So we'll see tomorrow on that. So thank you very much, and have a nice good night to everybody in that.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.